We are recording. And now I will share my screen. Here we go. And play. All right. Can you see that?
I can.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, everyone. Another Thursday. And today's topic is going to be grow your business through client retention. Of course, every one of our videos is important in different categories, but client retention, customer retention. I mean, this reminds me of, business school 101, first class. Probably one of the first classes they teach you in any business. It's a lot easier to keep a customer or keep a client than the amount of effort that you have to put into finding a new customer or client that doesn't know you. So for agents to not keep up with client retention, sometimes they just think, we're going to go over this, that at the end of the day, after they make the sale, it's done. They're not going to buy a house for the next several years, or more. We're going to give you some ideas because those are your main people. You're in now your A group in your sphere of influence and past customers and clients. So we're going to go through all of that right now. So Deb, I'll let you take the first slide.
I thought this was hilarious, but most people, one thing that I wanted to point out to everybody, real estate, it's all about the money, isn't it? And then you have Bugs Bunny there counting his money, because that's really what everybody wants to do. They want to make money. But the way that we approach real estate with Homestar is we want relationships so that you can keep client retention and you can keep going over and over again. So yeah, it is about the money, but you definitely want to build good tools and good practices in your business. Remember, you're the CFO there, to keep people continuously talking to you and working with you, and they don't go to someone else when they are ready, or they don't refer to someone else when they're ready.
Exactly. If you see the money, I mean, if you're thinking about the money, it does come through. It's hard to hide that. I know that happens to agents when they get frustrated with clients because it's taking so long, or your sparkle in your eye with a new client kind of diminishes as the more houses you go see, and the more the time, your responsive time, things like that. So you probably haven't had it happen in your life, buying a car, going to a store. You could tell that they're not interested in you, they're more interested in making the sale. So you got to really take a step back and really look to see, because it's hard to see yourself from outside. And really, I could tell it in agents when I'm helping out, and Jeb, you're helping out agents when things get difficult, and you could tell that they're not going to call their client with the same enthusiasm as they did 3 months prior. So think about that when you're trying to keep your clients, and you don't want to lose a client before they even, you have a sale.
Right. So
right.
How do you do that?
Yep.
This is how you're building your reputation. You're building relationships with trust and credibility. So that's what we're going to talk about. Trust and credibility for you. You're the brand, you're the face of it, and it's how you're interacting with people. Older agents, you have developed your own way of talking to people and such like that. Brand new ones, you need to develop your skills, right? So that's your practicing with things and listening to these videos that we do so that you know how to do it. It's all you. You're only going to succeed if people trust you and they like your reputation.
Exactly. All right, next. Go ahead, Deb.
Keep your word. So reliability is the key to follow through and exceed expectations. And I put this all on here just so you guys can remember things when you're looking at the videos and stuff like that. But it's a huge component for trust, right? Is to promise to do something and to keep your word when you're doing it. Now, when you're talking to somebody, One thing I don't want you to promise is, I promise I can get you $300,000 for this house. Don't make those promises, because you
Right.
don't know if that's going to happen. Okay.
Right. And there's ways and scripts to say these things, like example, when I talk to agents and kind of giving them ideas on how to present a listing presentation, they never say, I think your house is worth, or what do we think your house is worth. It's what the market thinks your house is worth. It's what the market shows your house is worth, should be worth now, and give them a range, because the market changes. You could either blame it good or bad on the market. You don't say, so many agents do this, and I think that's what happens when things don't sell for this right price. And I can go on and on about this, but I don't want to get too far off of it. That's why there's ways to keep your word, but not say it's you're talking about the market shows your house should be sold within 30 to 60 days, should be in this price range, but that's the market as of right now. Market could go up in the next 30 days, could come down, things like that. I could go on and on about that, but
Right.
keep going, Deb.
But that's absolutely right. That's perfect for that example. Keep good company. Surround yourself with positive, results-oriented people. The secret is out there, everybody. You can watch it if you want to, or not if you don't want to, but positivity begets positivity, right?
Oh yeah.
And the more you surround yourself with positive people, and the more you wake up in the morning and maybe you're like, oh my God, it's raining, I'm going to have a bad day. Get that thought out of your head. Start waking up every morning with that positive thing. Tony sends his motivational thing every single morning. If you just need a little kick, all you got to do is watch that.
And not to age myself, being in this business 30 years, seeing the change in keeping good company. My opinion, today it's so much easier to keep good company than it did 30 years ago. 30 years ago, when I got into real estate, we had to go in the office. You had to go in there. Some agents, some brokers miss those days. They go, oh, the camaraderie, the connections, the networking with agents, we miss that now. Yes, that's a pro, but there is a con. I just remember getting in the business at 22 years old and going in the office and sitting there all day, because there's no cell phones, and you had to sit there waiting for phone calls and make phone calls. But so you couldn't get away from those negative Nellies, so to say.
Right.
Those people are not positive. They just want to complain all the time. You probably have those people in your life. Every time you call them, they just want to commiserate about things. And right now, that's the time. The market has shifted, and some agents are not doing as much business. I talk to agents every day. Some of them are negative Nellies. Sometimes I got to tell them, I have agents right now doing more business today than they did last year at this time. I have agents doing more business this year than they did when the market came down the last time. So there's always something positive, be something in real estate. There's always someone buying or selling, but also I don't mind being that venting. So if you need to vent, and I like that because I use it as a teaching moment. So if you need to vent, give me a call about what's happening in your business, and I can help you see the positive side, or change your views, or a teaching moment to avoid those situations in the future.
Agreed. I'm there with you. Me too. We're always available. And if you need to talk something out just so you can try and figure out a different approach, or get your mind back into the positive thing, please contact us, because that's what we're here to help you. We want you to grow and succeed. Keeping the peace. So keeping the peace, you need to learn how to disagree without being disagreeable, right? And recognize the value in the opinion of others. So transactions sometimes get heated, y'all. They just.
Oh yes, agent to agent, keeping the peace. The most common thing I say almost on a daily basis to agents when there's situations is, please do this by a phone call, not by text, not by an email, so people could hear your empathy, your sympathy, your how your tone is. So I know I lose tone in texts and emails all the time. Like, what do they really mean? Are they saying this nice or bad, or they just give me facts? I think keeping the peace and knowing, especially with your clients, you really have to have a phone conversation and hear the inflection in their voice and the emotions and mood that they're in, not just text. I see a lot of agents losing that connectivity with people, thinking they're going to build a relationship with a client from the time they write an offer to closing just through text.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Right.
You need to be personable, right? You
Right.
need to be personable, and
And
it could be something very simple that needs to be addressed. But if you're using text or email, and you're in a hurry, it's going to reflect, and it's going to look like you're being pushy or you're pushing them off in a different direction. When in reality, that's not your thought process. So talking in person is good. You can always follow up with a text or an email if it's something that needs to be documented. Okay.
exactly. Go ahead.
Um, what's the next thing? Keep control. Manage your emotions when stressed and under pressure, which kind of goes along with keeping the peace. But your emotions, they impact how you are perceived and the way that people look at you and the way that you're addressing situations too. So if you are run into one of those situations where it's going to be volatile no matter what happens and stuff, be considerate of what your surroundings are. Can people see you? Can people hear you? If you're talking to someone on the phone, try and keep your control. And then when you hang up from the phone, if you need to scream or holler or pound on something or whatever, go ahead and do it that way, but don't do it in front of others. Again, this all comes back to your positivity thing. We all run into positions where we are just like so frustrated that we lose it, right? And the hot head
Right.
comes out.
And the one thing that pops in my mind about this is that you are the cool, calm person that keeps the calm. Not don't take the emotions on of your client. Your client, don't take the emotions on if the other agent is emotional. This is a bit, it's kind of like, and I hate to use example, like you're a doctor. You don't want your doctor to start crying with you. You want your doctor to be someone, he or she, that knows what they're doing and tells you it's going to be okay. Also, when something doesn't go right, you got to keep control of everybody else and where their minds are going. A quick example I go over is it happens every month, and gosh, and this happens at least once or twice or three times a month to me. I'm talking to an agent and something like the closing is being delayed, and everybody thinks it's the end of the world, and the buyers are upset, sellers upset, the other agent's upset. And I've had agents that have been in the business 20 years. I'm like, you've never had a deal that didn't close on the day of closing? This is insane. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes to keep control, be the calm, you have to give people stories. Say it's not that bad. Example, I've given agents like role play. Say, okay, you got a seller. They're supposed to close today. Buyer can't close till next week. Got to go say, don't worry, that we wish that would happen, but it's not that bad. Like, it's not that bad. It's a week and I can't close on this. I go, but no, it's not that bad. And then sometimes you have to give them stories. It goes, you could say, hey, my company had was supposed to close last week and the buyer can't even get the financing anymore. They don't even have a buyer. You're in good shape. You still have a buyer. They're going to close next week, not a buyer that can't close. Sometimes you got to use stories. It's kind of like, the old story, like, there's a man that was so upset because he had no shoes, but until he saw a man with no feet, he didn't mind. So it's kind of like that. I have to help to keep the calm situation, but I love these situations and I don't like us to be in them, but I enjoy trying to help with those kind of situations. So if you ever get in a heated thing with agents or buyers and sellers, I'm happy to give you some perspective to share. So I'm sorry, this is going to take forever if I keep on giving too many examples, but go ahead, Deb.
No. This is all good. This is what you need to hear because it's true. I mean, this is the way that you're going to keep yourself in check. So keeping the honest, be open and honest and admit when you're wrong. Okay. People don't have to guess your intentions when you're honest. And so you want to make sure that you're explaining things as thoroughly as possible when you're talking about documents, when you're talking about the inspection report, the point of sale and all that. And it all goes back to what? Making sure you know what you're talking about. So if something pops up and you're not sure how to answer the questions and stuff, tell them, you know
Yeah,
what? I'm going to have to check with my broker and I will get back to you. Do that, because if you don't do that and you give them some kind of willy wonky answer because you're not sure how to answer it, they're going to lose their faith in you. So
right. And
be honest.
yeah, let me give you a quick story about this. Be honest. One of the situations that comes up, sometimes agents think we're attorneys. What I mean by that is, like, an attorney watch TV, they think that if their client tells them something, obviously if it's something wrong with the house, you got to keep that confidential. No, you have to notify the other side. Also, when one of the common things that comes up where there's an argument between agents and they think they're lie or not being honest is when verbal things are said. And sometimes agents double down on the things that they say. Example, it comes up, just had one yesterday. One of our sellers said they were going to accept an offer. And then they verbally, our agent went back and told the buyer's agent. By the time the buyer's agent got it all written up, sent it back to our agent, sellers changed their mind. Our agent first reaction is to defend their seller. Well, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. I'm like, no, you get on the phone, and this is on or off the record, it's my opinion, is that you get the other agent on the phone and go, I'm sorry, be honest. My seller said this, but it's a verbal thing. Before we got assigned, they changed their mind. Simple matter of fact. And I actually got on the phone with the buyer's agent and said, I'm sorry, our seller changed their mind. They're verbal and the whole legality of that. Sometimes you got to be honest. You don't have, hopefully that makes sense, because that reflects your honesty with that agent that does business with you or that buyer. And quick second story, I had one agent that our was a seller's agent. Our agent was trying to protect their seller. It wasn't lying, but didn't want to say their seller didn't want to go into detail and apologize that their seller changed their mind. The agent thought our agent was changing the deal, not the seller. And the buyers were trying to file a complaint against our agent for just doing what the seller did because they didn't do a good job explaining to the buyer's agent. Hopefully you're following this track that it wasn't them, it was the seller, but they just didn't want to give them all the information, like to say, hey, I'm sorry, my seller changed the mind. The buyers thought the agent was changing the contract and convincing their seller to change the contract or verbal offer, so to say, not change the written offer. So, but this affects you with that relationship with that other agent, could affect you on the other side, could even be a complaint if they think you're not being honest. So always check with me, or Debbie will give you some advice. If you get in a situation where you feel someone's not being honest with you, it might be just the information you're sharing with them. It might be, it's usually too many texts and emails they can't cipher, and a call might help you with that, because your reputation, like we started with, means a lot. So
Right.
Keep going, Deb.
Keep the vision. The vision is your overall goal, right? What's the overall goal? Well, you want to make money, but you also want to help people. And their overall goal is to get a house or to sell a house, right? So remember the goals and the objectives when you're talking to people, and don't be thinking about, again, I'm going to go back to it, just the money, So pay attention to what's going on in the transaction and the ultimate end goal of getting that house closed.
Exactly. Keep your records.
Keep your records. Can't stress this enough. All text, emails, and paperwork, reviews, and testimonials are good. Those are records. You put those out on your social, it's going to boost your credibility and boost your trust. When other people trust you, that makes that makes the new person want to trust you as well. But it builds your street cred. We had an agent a few years ago who just got out of school. He was brought on by another agent that we have. And in our very first conversations, he kept saying, I asked this specific agent to ask her if she would list my name on all of her stuff because I needed to build street cred. And he wanted to use her street cred, so to speak, instead of building his own. And I'm like, you need to build your own street cred. listen to what she tells you and listen to what I tell you and build your own. Don't always rely on someone else's stuff too. I know I
Also,
just went off topic of keeping the
no, that's
records,
all
but
right. No, but I do want to say everything, technically, every conversation that you ever have with someone is supposed to be logged. Every text, every email, every house you show, every piece of paper you give someone, everything, even if they don't buy or sell a house with you, is supposed to be captured, and you're supposed to have it at your disposal to show if something comes up. So again, 99.9 times out of 100, you're never going to need all of this, but it's that 0.1 time that there's a lawsuit between a buyer and seller or something like that. Keep your records, and text messages were so many of those. I know not too many agents are making, because sometimes they're forever making screenshots and putting them in a file. I mean, you can do that, but honestly, my suggestion would be, I know it costs some money. Sometimes on your phone, you have your phone, don't delete any text, keep the text on your phone as long as you can. Two, my suggestion to agents, just so you have it, if you get to the end of your phone plan, and for $50, if you turn in your phone, you could get a $50 credit or something if you turn your phone, because now you own it and you're on an upgrade. Don't do it. I say just keep that phone in a drawer like a file cabinet, because there should be probably some text or a call log or something on there that you might need somewhere that might help you out of a jam. Again, it's like winning a bad lottery. Hopefully your name's never called, but a legal issue, nothing that you did, but they want to make sure you have all the information. It might help your buyer, you might help your seller, might help you if they blame you for not saying something or doing something, and you show that. So many times we have lawsuits because it just happens. Just the number of houses we sell is going to happen. And so many times a text message or email saved us from what someone else was saying that we did or did not do. Say, no, look, right here is in that email. If we didn't save the emails, if he or she agent didn't have the text message, that, you never know when those things could pop up 2 years after you sell a house. So just keep that as much as possible with that. So, all right, last one for this one.
Keep quiet, be a good listener. This exemplifies respect and trustworthiness, because you want to know what exactly they're saying. So if you start talking to someone about something and they just keep going on and on, listen to what they're saying and really listen to what they're saying. Don't start thinking about what you have to do next. Pay attention to your client in the moment. They're your focus. Okay.
Right. I always remember the saying, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth.
That's a good one.
I always think of that. All right. Go ahead, Deb.
Gaining credibility and trustworthiness doesn't happen overnight, you guys. Just keep going with what you're doing. These are all things that are trying to help you. This is a little mini mastermind that I thought maybe I could get out to all you all as a goal to increase your client retention through thoughtful interaction and create a past. Oh gosh, I just am mixing up my words today.
That's all right.
Create a past buyer communication calendar is something you might want to do, or a past seller communication calendar, and keep track of what you're doing with all of them. It's just something just to push you into doing something. And if you want to share your thoughts of what happened, or if you have other thoughts about anything that we talk about in any of our videos, you can always contact us, because that's why we're here, to talk to you.
Exactly. All right, some good CE coming up.
Yeah, the CEs, you can see that the class for court ethics that Mike had that was supposed to be this month got moved to April 5th. Hush is also doing April 6th, the one about TRID, so that's a good one too. The other ones have been on our previous ones, but you do have core law coming up on Saturday morning. So if anybody needs core law, it's this Saturday morning. And you have to log in through Zoom. You have to have your computer on for all of these classes with your video so that they can see you during the classes in order to get credit.
Exactly. And up there, it's 10 a.m. to 1:15. You gotta.
Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry.
I was like, what? 0? It's at midnight. But Yes, the one thing that I get, because I send out the emails to our agents, to other agents to remind them of our CEs right before the classes, I always get several emails. I can't log in, or what's the what's the what's the link and all of that. So I always make sure when you register for these classes that you keep that link handy, because there's no magical way for me to get it.
Yeah,
So
right.
I get those. And also I've had agents, not often, I mean, I think Mike has like over 300 people already registered for his hash. I think he gets like, I don't know, maybe like 1,000 people. Who knows how many people he gets on his, is a lot. And so the communication during the class is very hard. So sometimes I've gotten emails or agents call me. I'm like, I can't get a hold of anybody. I'm like, there's 300-400 people in class trying to text, email. If you can't, unfortunately, if you can't get in or you lose connectivity, you're just not going to get credit for it. But again, most agents, I mean, there's no problem. There's always like 1 or 2 or 3. So I apologize if that happens, but just make sure you got your links, make sure you got your internet's up and running. And I feel bad if it doesn't, but most agents don't have a problem with that. So just want to know, I don't have any magic wand to get you in, and I don't have any magic wand to give you credit if you miss too much time. I
Yeah.
wish I did. Wish I
Yep.
did. And last,
Okay, February 14th is National Book Giving Day. If you find something that maybe one of your clients piqued interest or talked about when you were going through all of your transaction, and they mentioned something, give them a book.
right.
Uh,
No, I think
a book on the
I
topic.
love this every week, because I'm learning more things. Like last time was like pizza day, or basically there's something a couple times a month, there's something going on as a reason to give something to someone, or reach out, remind someone, or post something on your social media. There's always something. So
Yeah, there's
great.
always something going on. And if you don't want to give people books, then you can just wish them a happy National Book Giving Day on the 14th, which is also what? Valentine's Day. But some people don't have a Valentine, so they can do the book instead.
Exactly. Valentine's Day is coming up, but I learned years ago that it's actually St. Valentine's Day. So if you didn't know, just to be sensitive about some things, because I had an event once and I was doing a Valentine's, and I had a couple of our agents that were not really offended, but just triggered, so to say, using that word, because it's not. Some people view it as as a religious holiday. Never knew that. I always thought it was just Valentine's Day. Knew St. Patrick's Day has St. Patrick Saint in it, so I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah.
On there, on that. So, but that's it for today. Thanks for watching us. We really do appreciate it. We love the feedback. Feel free to text or call us. Any topics you want us to go over or thoughts, we'd be happy to pop some ideas in there. But we're going to keep doing this every week for you. And we appreciate everybody watching. So thanks, Deb.
Oh, you're welcome. You have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.